Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy, and welcome to another live trailer reaction slash trailer discussion. It's going to be a bit of both on this one. Trailer reaction in that I haven't seen this trailer yet. You told me, I was at work, you told me that the trailer went up. I was like, could have gone up any other day when I wasn't in work, but it went up today. So I've held off. I don't know how I've held off. Everyone's been sharing this on my Facebook newsfeed. I've scrolled past it. Haven't seen a thing from this trailer. You have already seen this trailer, but you're going to be there so we can go into it and discuss more things. You probably know more about the filming side of things and the whole background of this thing of season 2. It's the Mandalorian Season 2.
I've seen this once, so I've not done my usual. I was scanned through it. I don't know that it came up earlier out of nowhere, no announcement, anything. It just went up on Lucas and was like, oh, the trailer's here. It was within like 4 minutes. I think I've been like football wise. It was a big story. I kept refreshing Twitter all afternoon, and then the trailer was like, oh my god, no, there's too much news. But saw it at launch. Haven't delved into it. Haven't seen what other people have said about it. Spoke to a couple of my friends and stuff. So yeah, intrigued to see it again. That's as much as I can say. I'm not normally on the reactions. Ironically, I was on the Tenet one a couple of months back. So this is Chris's territory. So I'm more here for the journey with him. But I have seen this. I do have to say that straight away.
And of course, this is a live reaction, so if we do start getting people in, please leave your comments as well. Let us know what you thought of this trailer and everything as we go along. Or if you don't want to comment along, do follow us on our socials. I'm going to head over to George now, who's going to bring up the socials. We've got Facebook and Twitter, but do get commenting along because it is always good to have a discussion on these things.
Absolutely. This has took us by surprise. So this wasn't planned. There's not been the usual big build-up, but if the best way to find out about other videos we do other than this one is on Facebook at Cinema Savvy, Twitter at Cinema_Savvy, and it's worth mentioning, we did a Bill and Ted review earlier on tonight, and we're doing a review for the new one not tomorrow, not yet. It's not Wednesday yet. We're doing it this Thursday.
We're recording it tomorrow. It'll be pre-recorded. It's going up on Thursday.
Absolutely. So there's other things to come, but it's nice to do a sort of trailer thing because with lockdown, we've not had many film trailers at all. And ironically, this isn't a film, but this is maybe the biggest thing that has to come out this year because as of tonight, it looks like more films are going to move, which hasn't been yet confirmed. But Black Widow and Soul is apparently on its way to 2021. So we'll know more things in the next few weeks, but this could be the biggest piece of medium, I guess, left for 2020. And it's not too far off. It premieres on October 30th. So that's his weekly subscription. I don't need to talk to you about the ins and outs of Disney Plus. So I think we should get to the trailer. Chris, I'm handing over to you.
Absolutely right. So how this is going to work is I'm going to disconnect my earphones now so that you guys can get a little bit of the audio. As this is live, you will sort of hear the background audio coming through my mic as I talk over it. So hopefully it's okay. We've done a few of these before. It seems to go over okay. People can hear it. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing this. So I'm about to share screen now. You guys at home should hopefully be able to see that trailer on mine. I've full screened that on mine. There we go. Right. So I'm going to count down from 3 and then we're going to hit play. So 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, his engine's bust again. He's going to have to make a pit stop on Tatooine, probably. It's Mongolian throat singing, okay.
Safety deemed such destruction.
There he is.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
Oh, that was the... Oh, yeah, we are back on Tatooine. Can we get away from Tatooine? Is this Hoth?
Tell of battles between Mandalore the Great and an order of sorcerers called Jedi.
You expect me to search the galaxy and deliver this creature to a race of enemy sorcerers?
Oh, oh, she's goddamn magician.
This is the way.
This is the way. Got like Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, wow, okay. Wait, was that the Death Star?
Wherever I go, he goes. So I've heard.
Oh, okay. You've got me. Disney Plus, you've got me. Right. Okay. Right.
That was a lot better on second viewing. I'm going to pass over to you, though.
Let me connect my earphones real quick. We have things to discuss and to talk about in this trailer. My God, I don't even know where to start. I'm actually surprised they left it that late to do a trailer. I mean, we're sort of middle of September, and we're like a month and a half away from this thing. Well, like a month away from this thing. It's mad. So, okay, right. So the audio should be fine now. I've connected.
All perfect.
Right. Okay, we're back on Tatooine by the looks of it. Now, going back to, I'm going to get the negatives out of the way first, because there's a lot of positives in this trailer. There's so many positives in this trailer, but my negatives, and this was sort of going back to our reviews that we did for Mandalorian Season 1. I think we were pretty much on the money for this thing. Episode 5 of Season 1 of Mandalorian. It was the nostalgia episode. It was the remember it episode. Tatooine. Do you remember it? The cantina, the not Han Solo guy, the Tusken Raiders, the speeder bikes, and the pit droids, everything and more was all crammed into that episode. And I really disliked it for that. My favorite thing with Mandalorian was that it was taking us on this completely new adventure with new characters. Let's go into new territory. This is a universe. Let's explore it. And when it did that as a TV show, I really, really enjoyed it. That sort of like episodic feel to it. But going back to Tatooine, and I know that some images have been released as well. I'm not sure if it was like an Entertainment Weekly thing or whatever it happened to be, or whether it was just released on social media on Disney stuff. There's a shot of Mando sort of on a speeder bike. Looks like he's parked outside what looks like the Cantina Bar or some kind of building on Tatooine. If we're going back and we're retreading that stuff again, I don't know how I feel about that. It's just like, how many times do we realistically need to keep going back to Tatooine? And then we have a snow planet in this trailer as well, which I don't know whether it's Hoth. I guess there could be many snow planets in the galaxy, but I think it's just because we're so used to Star Wars. When you see a snow planet, you immediately think, well, that has to be Hoth, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's your territory. Maybe you know where that is. So I'm going to hand over to you.
I'm with you on Tatooine. The first time I watched episode 5, I was like, that's so cool, Tatooine. And I always watched them twice on release last year. So obviously, I was flying to America every week and flying back to watch it legally. Of course, I would never do that. And I would watch it on a lunch break, and I'd download it in the morning, send it around to all my friends, and then work would finish. I'd watch it with my dad because he was really interested. He loved it. So I was watching it twice every opening day, which I think was actually a great way to watch TV. Never done that with TV before, but it felt right for something like Star Wars. And the second viewing of episode 5 was horrendous. It wasn't that I enjoyed it much the first viewing. It was just like, okay, the nostalgia's getting me, and it's okay. And there was bits I didn't like. I hated the Han Solo. I hated the Tusken Raiders. But there was bits of it, oh, that's cool. There's the shot from, there's the shot. There's the building. There's this, there's that. Second viewing was like one of the worst things I've ever sat through, which is a shame because it was Dave Filoni's episode 2. It's one of the 2 he directed. He did do the pilot, which I loved. I think we're going back because there is a loose end which they're tying up. Now, whether the loose end is tying up or whether it's actually untying a loose end to make it bigger, I'm not going to sit and say I know what's going to happen, but, if you've seen the news, it looks like we're 90% certain we're getting a Boba Fett appearance, and it looks like they've cast someone that played someone in a book. So a character they created in the books is now being put into the series who was on Tatooine. So my hope is it's one episode now. My hope is they had to go there for a story purpose. I hope it's not we're passing by, let's go for a drink. I hope it's you have to go to that planet. I'd rather not go there, but I think they are. So I can live with it as long as it's not too in your face like last time. But my only issue is that when Season 2 was being written was while Season 1 was airing. So sometimes with TV, certainly in comedies, it can take longer to get the sort of the feedback of people to get to you. Maybe they would have changed things by the time filming started. I assume they would have. Snow Planet. So I don't know where that is. Part of me won't say it's Mandalore. That would be so ballsy to go to on TV. I didn't think
that. I wasn't sure if it was like a snowy planet because I know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Bits and pieces of Clone Wars, but it looked like it was a city planet. But I don't know if it's got some other parts to it.
It's something like the Simpsons movie where there's like a city in a dome because the wars like destroyed the planet. And I don't know if that is Mandalore, but I trust Favreau not to go back to Hoth. I can't imagine him ever wanting to do that. He certainly took inspiration from obviously the original trilogy, but I can't imagine him logistically saying, let's go to Hoth. Tatooine, you can get away with to a point for nostalgia because it's been in not just 4, but it was in 6, it was in 1, 2, and ultimately 3 for one scene. So Tatooine has that we have to go here kind of thing. Whereas Hoth, I would be very shocked. The thing that caught me off guard most, which is something I'm trying to think in my head, the boats. You mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. I've never watched like Vikings or stuff. I was like, have we ever had Star Wars on a boat?
No,
and it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's all new territory. Like we've had pirates in the show, as not in kind of like on the high 7 seas kind of pirates, but we've had space pirates in it before.
Yeah.
But this is legit. This is the only thing I can think of, and I don't even really want to bring it up, is when Rey commandeers that skiff in episode 9 very briefly and goes, but that's not like, that's just to get from A to B, and B is literally right across the water. This could be like a whole episode. Yeah, this could be sea monsters. This could be everything. So that's the part that I'm clinging on to, the new territory, the new stuff that we haven't seen before. Go in that direction. I want to see more of that. And the final scene, which really got me, I love the bit where Baby Yoda just sort of seals himself in the thing and lets Mando take care of it. But it's an actual sort of like boxing ring. It's a new sport in Star Wars, and I really like that. One of the things that I loved in season 1 of Mando, I think it was in episode 7, I think. It's where they go to that sort of forest planet with the villagers, and you've got Cara Dune, and she's in some kind of fist fighting match, and they're sort of tied at the waist or tied at the chest with these sort of electrical cords, so it's close quarters combat. That was great, and I love the sports stuff in Star Wars. Really, we've only seen pod racing and things like that, but that was the new stuff that I really liked. And you could imagine these sort of like little sort of fist fights happening in loads of taverns or something in certain sporting places. This looks like it's chasing after that as well. And was it Gamorrean sword fighting in a boxing match or something? Like, yes, I want to see that. That's great.
When Jon Favreau announced season 2, I mean, we all know it's going to happen. He just tweeted a photo of like a thin Gamorrean guard. And everyone was like, whoa, it was a model as well. It was like not a puppet, but it was like a statue probably on his desk. And now we've seen in the trailers like wrestling / boxing in Star Wars. I'm in. It's the beauty of the Mandalorian was that although we had the issues with Tatooine, they expanded not the saga, the galaxy sort of thing, but it's like rather than everything's major, the world's going to end. It was just a small confined story, And I like the fact that we might have something similar. We're hanging out with the scumbags of the world, so let's kind of see the places they go to, the things they do that we've not been able to see. It kind of reminds me of the Sherlock Holmes film where he makes his money doing like boxing in the Guy Ritchie one, which is ridiculous for a Sherlock Holmes. But it was like you don't really get that in period films. So let's do things we've not seen in the main Star Wars films that they can do on TV. And I think a really big thing for me is again the technology that they created for season 1. I forgot the name of what they call it. The studio. Projection, and they've now got one in LA. They're building one in London for obviously when the UK stuff starts shooting. They're building one in Australia right now for when Thor 4 starts filming. This technology, I think, is game changing to the industry. Ewan McGregor did an interview a week or 2 ago saying that he's seen it. He's been on set. He's seen how that technology works, and he just says that it's an actor's dream to be able to do something so far-fetched, so distant in space, yet you've got the environment to act with it. Mm-hmm. So, again, going back to stuff like the boat, we all know how expensive Pirates of the Caribbean was, but some of the expenses were in being on location, to find the right places, have the ships, all this. You can't do Star Wars on a boat in real life. You'd have to have a pool on a set somewhere, and it just brings this new level. Like now we get to see, ultimately maybe pirates. So I think the trailer did such a good job of, it could have been a minute and a half of Baby Yoda. We know it's in essence about him, but we had a one big Baby Yoda moment, which was the funniest bit. Obviously, him closed himself in the cage, and that's probably episode 1. It seems to me, judging off a 2-minute trailer, that we're getting sort of in how the first one had a couple of things from later episodes, but the majority was the first few episodes. I really hope it doesn't feel like they've given anything away. We haven't had a look at Moff Gideon, who has the Darksaber at this point in time. We haven't had a look at Ahsoka, However, the face in the robe. So, I used to be an avid wrestling fan. I basically watched it across my childhood, adulthood, whatever. Still watching 3 years ago. However, the women's revolution, they called it, has been, they've actually had these incredible female wrestlers for the first time in the company's history. They've pushed them. Most of their matches are better than the men's matches. That's how good it got. They're called the 4 horsewomen, with the 4 best women. One of them is someone called Sasha Banks, who is in that trailer. So never seen her do acting. I've never seen her do anything that's not WWE, but she has crazy like red, purple, green hair all the time. And it was rumored she'd been cast in The Mandalorian. And the rumor for a while has been that she could be playing Sabine Wren from Rebels. She's similar. She could pull off the age which she would be. Not to delve into sort of cartoon territory, don't want to put people off from this, but there were rumors that she'd been cast, and they've showed her in the trailer. It is her. She's even tweeted it as well. If she's Sabine, it's connecting to Ahsoka. We all know rumors that Rex could be in this too. We know that I always forget her name. The actress from Sin City is playing Ahsoka in the series. Rosario Dawson.
Yeah,
that's the one. So this trailer's been smart because you see the hood, you think it's a Jedi. They mention Jedi. We know the story, if you didn't already, that he's going to have to go find the Jedi now to give Baby Yoda to them. Mm-hmm. We don't know what the future holds. We know this is one of the big risks for a lot of people is you're taking the small story and you're expanding it to Clone Wars, to Rebels, to other Star Wars mediums. I really hope, I've got faith in Jon Favreau and Filoni that this is still going to be the Mandalorian tale. And if she's going to appear, I really hope it's for a couple of scenes, if that, or one episode. I think they'd be shooting themselves in the foot if they're going to do... Hey, I'm trying to think of a TV series that's done it before. You get one great season, and then it just expands into, now you've got to catch up with 30 years worth of lore. Maybe like a Star Trek thing, but I've got faith in the team for this to not do that. They're going to obviously have the connections, because ultimately they do need to find a Jedi. But I've got faith in Favreau that he's not going to rewrite this into a new five season thing. I think as long as the story is precise to Baby Yoda needs to get from A to B with the Mandalorian, I'm all in. I'm just a bit cautious, and if there's going to be issues, it's going to be them expanding too much too quickly.
See, I always wanted them to keep it to 3 seasons, just a tight 3-season story, literally Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and follow it
Trilogy.
that way. Exactly. And the problem is, I mean, I think this is still, as of now, the most streamed TV series. I don't know if that's in general or if that's specifically just on Disney Plus. It's got a huge fan base around Baby Yoda. Everyone was talking about this. We talked about this when we did the sequel. We talked about episode 9, I think. No one was talking about episode 9. No one could give a shit about episode 9 when it was coming out. This was running in tandem with episode 9, and more people were talking week to week about Mandalorian. That was more in the sort of populace than even the episodic feature films were, which says a lot to me. So if this is successful, if this drafts in the viewers, and I guarantee it will, maybe some people sort of picked up Mandalorian towards the end of it showing. Maybe they've only just recently bought Disney Plus over lockdown and they've got into it that way. This is going to be massive. I reckon this might even top the numbers from season 1. Undoubtedly, you see it with a lot of TV shows. They have the graph of just the viewing figures rising and rising. If this maintains its success and keeps getting the people in, they ain't going to stop it after season 3. They're not going to stop one of their biggest cash cow. And it is Disney we're talking about, right? So I can see this thing going on and on, which is great if the story's there to tell it. But I think with the dynamic they've got, you know, it's kind of... Season 1 was that smaller. It didn't try and go grandiose. There were some fantastic scenes in there. The whole TIE fighter ending in episode 8 was amazing. But it wasn't anything compared to what we got in the films. Now with this, you know, we're seeing that X-Wing chase in the skies, which looks amazing. We go into, you can tell they probably had more money pumped into it as well. We've got these more spectacular effects. The effects were already great in season 1, but it looks like they're building on those for this one. And there's a lot of good story possibilities for this season. But that is one of my biggest concerns as well, is it going to alienate viewers if they don't know who Ahsoka is, if that is Sabine, if they don't know who Sabine is, or Rex, because I know elements from it. I know sort of very, very small story beats. I still haven't seen Rebels yet. So if that is Sabine, I'd be completely more or less out of the story at that point. Like, I know Ahsoka through the Clone Wars. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen some of the stuff from Rebels, but average sort of moviegoer who maybe has only watched the Star Wars episodes, the episodic feature films, they're not going to know who half these characters are. And as a result, because this is after Return of the Jedi, they're not going to know that significant history about all those characters. So they are running the risk of alienating some people. However, if they keep it to a minimum and whatever the function of those characters serves in the actual episode itself is good enough and it works for that episode, I think that's going to be fine. But it is a gamble with what they're doing with that. But and the Jedi thing, I wanted to talk about the Jedi thing, the whole search for the Jedi. I'm wondering if the structure of this thing is going to be similar to season 1, in where it was sort of like these week-to-week episodic vignettes. It did have a vague overarching story, I guess, but it was more sort of random encounters, random adventures over 8 episodes. And then it was really sort of your episodes 7 and 8, which was your 2-parter finale. I'm wondering if they're going to employ the same strategy with this one, and it's going to be a series of random, vaguely connected events, or if the story is going to sort of be the forefront of this thing, the search for Baby Yoda's homeworld, need to find the Jedi, need to understand more about the child. If that is going to be sort of the driving narrative throughout all the episodes, and all of them are going to connect, which it certainly seems that way. The Jedi thing's very interesting, though, because I'm assuming this is going to be set like maybe a year after, perhaps, or maybe it's set directly after the ending of season 1. It's going to be about 5 to 6 years after Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker is now, I'm assuming, creating some kind of Jedi temple. There's going to be new Jedi rising up very slowly. So that's awesome territory. That's, territory that was explored in the old Legends, which is now sadly not canon, but this is a chance for them to build on that. We've got a lot of, we've got a 30-year gap now from this point up until episode 7, where we've got Luke Skywalker. He talks about his Jedi temples, Jedi Academy, and everything like that. So if they go into that territory, could also be a nice springboard for the animated series. I know that there's been rumored with, I don't know whether Luke Skywalker was going to come back for that. A lot of new territory they could go, all based off of this one. So
the Jedi thing's good. I want to bring up one thing quickly. So budget for season 1 was 120 mil, and that's 15 mil an episode. The second most expensive or third most expensive show ever in the first season. Yeah. So Favreau did an interview last week and basically said that because of how much that budget was spent on creating the technology, creating that set, granted its projections, it was a whole new influx. And he said, because our sets are basically ready, we're not paying for like productions in terms of locations, that and that. And he said they've been able to absorb that budget and apply it to that. That's why I didn't expect to see X-Wings in the trailer. We had them in a couple, like 1-2 seconds in season 1, but
was it the New Republic or whatever they were called? I forget what they.
Yeah. It's like the New Republic, and it feels like in this one, this looks like a film. You could show that to a random person on the street. They think that's a Star Wars film. You don't think that's TV. That is a remarkable achievement in the fact that, not the fact it's just a new show. It's been out for 2 years, and this technology is allowing them to do film level work on the TV budget. It's remarkable. As you mentioned, Jedi, one thing I'm loving as well, and I don't think we've ever had this from Star Wars, point of view of the Mandalorians, the Jedi, they were the villains for the Mandalorians, and he says that I've got to hand him over to a sorcerer, and I'm really intrigued by we might have a point of view for the first time in Star Wars where the Jedi are the bad guys, and this is somebody that sees them as that. So there's not going to be this, oh look the Force, oh look a lightsaber, oh look a Jedi. If we got any of that, it's going to be these are our villains, as in for his people, for the Mandalorians. They're our villains. And I think that's a far more interesting dynamic than what we've had for a long time, and potentially ballsy. Bringing up a quick comment from Dave from the Life of Brian. Have to tread carefully on how they introduce any characters from other areas of canon. Precisely that. And it's exactly what you said. I might know who they are, but I'm fully aware that you know the bits. My dad's not going to know any of them. He's not going to watch the cartoons. And they need to realize that when you're selling, this was the most streamed show of last year. It's one of the biggest opening seasons in history. Season 2 numbers, considering that Disney Plus is out in pretty much every country now, those numbers are going to be even higher because people aren't going to be downloading and streaming them in terms of your country's not allowed it for 4 more months, so you can wait. And I think they need to... It's like the dark saber. If Darksaber was very much an Easter egg for fans like us that had seen Clone Wars and was like, whoa, that's incredible. To other people, it was, oh, that's a very cool new lightsaber. The villain's got a lightsaber. End of season 1.
Mhm.
And I think what they need to do is, if there is anybody they bring in, there needs to be an explanation, and it doesn't need to be some
in season explanation. Just a little bit, so you've got it. Yeah,
you can have Rex in, but if he's like, oh, like he's our guard mate or teammate or something, you don't need to know I was a commander in the Clone Wars for 30 years. I've done this, and that. They don't need that. You just need to say what is his purpose to the episode or episodes they may appear in. You don't need to fully explain everything about everyone. And I think that's a really big thing for me, is that you can lose a lot of people if they go overboard. And I think that's the difference with Filoni and Favreau. Filoni's great for having all the lore, for having the history, for creating and developing all of those characters. And I think by bringing in Favreau, you've got the external approach of, listen, I didn't work on Clone Wars, I didn't work on Rebels. So what I'm going to tell you about this is you need to do this in a different way. Now, I know that Favreau's the main writer of this, and the two of them obviously work hand in hand. And I think that's a really big dynamic. As someone that knows how risky that is, it's kind of like, even Star Wars Rebels, people never watched it. Season 1's like the most Disney-esque you'll ever see a TV series. And then season 2 is when it's like, okay, now let's bring in Maul, let's bring in Ahsoka, let's bring in these. And they never over-explained them. They never said, look at everything I've done for 30 years in the Clone Wars. It was never there. They just came in, they had their purpose, and they carried on with it. And I really hope they can do that for Mandalorian, because it'd be a great way for them to get people to go to the cartoons if they've not seen them. But as we said, it's a very risky strategy. And also, you don't want to detract from the main thing, which is up there, the Mandalorian. He is the main character. We love Baby Yoda, and he is an absolute, well, he's a pop culture icon already. And it's been less than a year since he graced our screens. And there's a lot on this, and I've got faith in this, faith in season 1. The action and everything else looks good. I'm very excited. That trailer was a lot better in the second viewing. I think now you can take it in. Speeder bikes, X-Wings. We got maybe 1 or 2 of each of them in season 1, but as I said, the scale, the cinematography, it looks different. The directors they brought in as well. We've got a couple of people returning from season 1. Obviously, Dave Filoni's directing an episode again. Rick Famuyiwa, I believe it's pronounced, is doing an episode. Bryce Dallas Howard's back. This time Jon Favreau gets directing an episode. They brought in Robert Rodriguez to direct an episode. And Peyton Reed, who did the Ant-Man films, is doing an episode. And Carl Weathers is directing an episode, which to me is all I can think of is Arrested Development.
Has he directed anything before?
I don't know.
Directorial debut.
All I can think of is Arrested Development. Like, you either know him as Apollo Creed or you know him as Carl Weathers from Arrested Development. And to me, this is the Carl Weathers from Arrested Development, where it's like, I can direct this. Are you sure? Yes, I can direct this. Don't worry. I just sense that. But he looks badass with this new beard. He's got his little cloak and metal bits, and very Count Dooku-esque. So it's an interesting lineup. They haven't just brought the same people back. Obviously, Taika, I think they were lucky to get in season 1. Me being very polite and saying that, big household name.
He's going to be tied up with four, though, isn't he? He's got other stuff at the moment. And
Robert Rodriguez is the one that excites me, because I've seen obviously a fair few of his things, but it'll be interesting to know that this is the guy that, 1 minute he can do Sin City, and the next minute it's like and I'm like, I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very intrigued by him, more so than maybe anything. I think Robert Rodriguez is going to have a very interesting episode.
It'd be like if they got Tarantino to do an episode. It'd be like, where the hell is this going to go? But yeah, no, I completely agree. As you said, he should be the front and center, and that's what I loved about season 1, is that pretty much it was more or less he was the entire protagonist all the way through, in terms of you viewed everything from him. Every single thing in the episode involved him. You were on that journey with him. There may have been like 1 or 2 scenes where it cut away to other characters, but it was mostly him front and center. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we talk about Arrow all the time as probably the go-to example where they did try and do too much and expand it too much. It got too much for even us, and we might even be seeing Marvel go the same way. We know that Disney Plus have got all these Marvel shows lined up, which are going to feed directly into the films. Now, when it was just the films or the Marvel films, yes, there were a hell of a lot coming out every year, But you could go to the cinema, you could keep up with them, you could watch all of them. And if you do watch all of them, then by the time you get to Endgame, you're going to have this huge picture mapped out. If you're then throwing TV shows into it, which we know they are doing, and they said you need to watch, maybe I don't want to watch the Loki TV series, but I know that I have to watch that because when I go and see Doctor Strange 2, that series is going to link into that. You know, they are running a risk with this, but I agree. And The Life of Brian also says, don't want to see Skywalker, but would love to see his new Jedi hinted at. Yeah, if they keep it minimal, which I think they might do, or there's sufficient explanation within series, which keeps new viewers up to date and knows what's going on within the series, and they don't feel like they need to read some kind of Wikipedia entry to know what the Darksaber is, then they're absolutely fine. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. This looks incredible in terms of the money that's behind this thing and how much bigger it looks. And I want to see some answers to those questions. You know, we talked about the mystery around Baby Yoda. Who is he? How has he emerged? What do the bad guys want him for? Why would they view the Jedi as bad guys at this point? Because at the end of Return of the Jedi, we see in the special editions, granted, all the planets celebrating, including Tatooine. So they were clearly glad that the Empire was gone. But maybe some places aren't. Maybe some places liked that order. So I don't know. There's a lot of possible areas. And as you mentioned, Gideon, I don't think we'll get another trailer. You might get some like a very short teaser maybe directly before it comes out. But I think, to be honest, Disney Plus didn't even need to release a trailer. They could just say that The Mandalorian's dropping and people would watch it anyway. So I've pretty much said everything I can on this trailer. I'm completely on board with it. The Mando hype is back. It's nice to be hyped about something Star Wars again. Granted, it's just TV, but you know what? I'll take this because it's basically as good, if not better than a film at this point. So I'm going to pass over to you guys now. What do you think of Mandalorian, Season 1 and indeed this trailer? Are you looking forward to this? What are some of your speculation regarding Season 2? Where are you hoping it goes? Anything regarding this TV series or Star Wars in general, please do let us know. And over to George one final time for the socials, which will take us out.
Yeah, as usual, best way to find out what we're doing is always to follow us on the social medias, Facebook, Cinema Savvy, and Twitter at cinema_savvy. And if you do want to pick up one of our t-shirts, we have a store, which you can see in the link is in the description. And coming this Thursday is Bill and Ted Face the Music review. We'll be pre-recording that tomorrow. We'll premiere it on Thursday. We did just do a review to Bill and Ted that went up earlier this evening. So if you like those kind of films, if you like that film, the duo, Keanu Reeves, do check that out. It was a very interesting discussion. Always weird talking comedies on the channel because it's not really a kind of discourse kind of thing. So it's more like, what did you like? What didn't you like? So do check that out if you are interested. But in terms of Mandalorian Star Wars, end of 2019 was to me and many people not the way it should have ended or deserved to end. However, we've had a bit of hope with the Clone Wars, and we're back again talking Favreau for the future of this. So I'm excited. October 30th. It's basically November. It's so hard to keep saying it's October. It's 2 days off November. It's going to finish in December, man. And next thing you know, it's 2021. So yeah, that will do it for this video. I'm going to pass over to Chris. Say bye because I'm terrible at outros.
It's okay. Thank you, Life of Brian, for tuning in. And yeah, as we said, get commenting. We want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. We will see you on Thursday. Take care, guys.